Hey guys, D-Man here with another Linux video. Today I would like to share with you two ways in which you can get back your Raspbian OS start menu icon, start menu button. Alright, so let us assume that you have accidentally right-clicked on your start button and then clicked on remove menu from panel. It can happen, it happens quite often. If you check on the internet, a lot of people are trying to figure out how to get it back. So let us assume we've done that. We now have no start button, and this can happen with any of the other items in this panel, by the way. But let us assume we have lost our start button, and we want to get it back. Okay, so the way you do it is you right-click anywhere on this panel. You then go to Add or Remove Panel Items. Okay, now the thing to understand here is this list which you are seeing right here is actually a list of all the items that are already in the panel. Alright, and if you have lost your menu item, you will see that, well, there is no menu item in here because you've probably removed it. Okay, the way to get it back is as follows. So you click on Add, then you got to find menu in this list, which is over here. Then you click on Add again, and menu will now appear in this list under Panel Applets. Okay, you got to be on Panel Applets, by the way. That's the third one, the third tab in this window. Okay, but the important thing is, because as you've probably noticed, menu has not returned, the menu button has not returned to this panel item. Now, actually, if you look very carefully, you will see that your menu has returned. In my case, it is on the far right-hand side. That's probably where it will be for you as well. And if you click on this tiny little strip over here, this invisible button, you will see that your menu is now back. But we want our menu back. We want the start button back. In other words, we want the original icon, the Raspbian icon back. Okay, and the way you do that is now you got to click on Preferences, right? It's very important. You go on Preferences, and by default, the icon will point to this image over here, mycomputer.png, which is at this location. But we don't want that one. What we want is to simply type in start dash here. Okay, you got to type it in exactly like that. Start dash here, no spaces between start and here or anywhere else. Then you got to go here and you got to put in a 4. Or you can use these arrows on the side here to go from 0 up to 4, up to 5, etc. We want number 4, okay? That's for the padding. In other words, it's the spacing between the icons. Okay, click on OK. And now, there you go. Voila. Or as the French say, voila. But as you probably noticed, the problem we're having now is that the start button is on the far right. So unless you want it over there, you probably want it back on the left, which is where it was. Okay? And the way you do that is you go back here to this panel preferences window, and now you click up, and you click up again, and you click up again, and you keep clicking up. And as you can see, the start menu, the start menu button is now moving towards the left. Every time you click up, it'll move towards the left. So you click up, up, up until it is all the way on the left where you want it. Okay, I want it pretty much there. Okay, so that's that. You can now close this and your menu button will be working as it did before. So that's great. That's the one way to get it back. That is the normal standard way to get it back. Okay, now there is another way to get this back. Let us assume that you've lost your menu button. Let's remove it again. And you've lost your application launch bar. Let's say you've lost a bunch of all of these things. You don't know how to get them back. And you don't really want to spend a lot of time going through all these panel settings again, or even though you could do that to get all of them back, just simply using the method I just explained. But let's assume you want to get the panel back to the way it was out of the box. You want it back to the factory settings, so to speak, and you want to do it in one step. Okay, so the way you got to do that is you got to open up your file manager. Now the problem I'm having here is that I don't have a menu button. So how do we open up our file manager? Okay, the easy way to do it is you simply create a new folder, and you can call it whatever you want. I'll just call mine new because we don't really need this folder, but we need to create a new folder. So new, okay, you'll see this will now appear on your desktop. You can now open this, and this is just to get into your file manager, right? So now you've opened this, and what you want to do is you want to go to home, and then inside home you got Pi, right? So you go Pi, or you can click here, it's the same thing. And then inside Pi, right, inside this folder, you want to go to the config folder. But by default, when you open this folder, it will probably look more like this on your side. You won't see the config folder. That's because the config folder is one of the hidden folders, right? Now to make these hidden folders visible, that's the folder starting with a full stop, you may have noticed. Okay, in Linux you simply go to, you simply hit Control H on your keyboard, right? So it's Control, hold it in, and then H. And then that will make all the invisible folders and files, as you can see over here, visible. Okay, we want to go into this one. You don't want to mess around with any of the others. You just want to go into this one over here, config, right? Now inside config you'll see there is a folder called LX panel, right? Do not get it confused with any of the others such as LX session or LX terminal, any of those. You only want LX panel. And what we are going to do is we are going to move it to trash, okay? And you don't need to worry about this. What will happen is Linux is very clever. We're going to move this to trash, and when we reboot our operating system, Linux will automatically generate this folder with all its files containing the default configurations for your panel and all your buttons at the top over here. Okay, so now we've deleted that, we've moved it to trash, and we can now close this window over here, and all we need to do now is boot our operating system. But guess what? I have also removed my command line icon from the panel. So how do we get to our command line? Well, in case you happen to be in the same situation that I am, so that you don't have any of these things, these icons available in your panel at the top, well, the shortcut to get to your command line in Raspberry Pi, it is different with different distributions of Linux, but in Raspberry Pi it is okay. Now in Raspbian OS, for some reason none of the standard shortcut, none of the standard key combinations to open the terminal for Linux seem to work. Nobody knows why it has been configured this way. In most Linux versions it's Control-Alt-T. In some it is Alt-T. For example, Parrot Linux. In others there may be different key combinations, and of course you can set them yourself. Okay, but in Raspberry Pi the only option you have if you want to open your terminal using a keyboard combination is you go Alt F2, but that doesn't open the actual terminal. It only opens this run window. So now you could type in your reboot command over here, which is sudo reboot h now, and then click on OK. But I am going to show you another way of doing this. Okay, we still have our fake folder here, our empty folder. Right click on this and then go to open in terminal at the top here, and that will open up your terminal. Okay, so now you got to do the same thing. You simply type in that same command, sudo reboot h now, and then click enter, and there you go. That will reboot your operating system. Now once it reboots, if everything has worked out as planned, if the LX panel folder has repropagated as it should, then you should also see that your panel and all your default icons at the top of your desktop should have returned. Okay, so let's give it a minute and see what happens. Okay, there we are, back in action. As you can see, we have successfully booted back into Raspbian OS, and our control panel at the top over here, as well as all our menu buttons, have returned, and we can now use them as we did before by simply clicking on them. And we also have this fake empty folder which we created earlier. We don't need that, so we can simply move it to the trash. And if you go into your trash, by the way, you will see that the LX panel folder, which we deleted earlier, is still in here. We can remove this from the trash folder because it will have been regenerated in the location that it belongs. And remember, it is also a good idea to always keep your trash can empty because it does take up space. So anyway, guys, I hope this was useful. If you liked the video, please subscribe, please click on like, please click on the bell notification icon. If you'd like to leave me a comment or questions, please feel free to do so in the comment section. And if you really like this video, feel free to send me some crypto. I'll leave my addresses in the description, but do not feel obliged. Alright guys, so check you soon. Bye bye for now.